4 dots on a map. That's often enough to identify 95% of people. Not 50. 95. De Montjoye's 2013 science paper made that painfully clear. And your first reaction should be, wait, what? That's not anonymous, because the creepy part isn't just that apps know where you go. It's that those tiny scraps can be stitched into a profile of who you are, what you do, and what you're likely to do next. Not an ad file. More like a shadow credit bureau for everything except credit. And once you see how ordinary app data turns into a dossier, who buys it, and how it can hit your wallet and your safety, you can't unsee it. For a long time, most people thought digital tracking was basically the tax you paid for free stuff online. You got weirdly specific sneaker ads, you rolled your eyes, end of story. Annoying? Sure. But manageable. And then the mask started slipping. In 2013, de Montjoye and other researchers published that science paper showing how easy it was to re-identify people from tiny bits of behavior. Not because anyone hacked some secret vault, because modern life leaks patterns everywhere, and patterns are basically fingerprints with better branding. A year later, the FTC did something even more important. In 2014, it published a report on 9 data brokers and put a government flashlight on an industry that had been operating like beige office furniture, everywhere, expensive, and somehow invisible. The FTC laid out 3 big lanes: marketing brokers, risk mitigation brokers, people search brokers, which sounds boring until you realize that covers advertising, fraud, identity verification, background-style lookup tools, and all kinds of decisions about who gets attention, scrutiny, or access. And that's when the story changed. This wasn't just we sell lists of shoppers or we help advertisers find dog owners. The business was evolving into something much more useful and much more unsettling. Not just collecting facts, but ranking people, sorting them, predicting them, turning scattered signals into categories that follow you around. Think of it less like one ad database and more like a catalog of human behavior. Tiny entries about what you buy, where you go, what you click, what might be true about you, mundane on their own, wild in aggregate. So the quiet assumption broke. This wasn't fringe spyware stuff from some sketchy corner of the internet. It was a mainstream market. And once phones, apps, and brokers got better at linking those fragments together, the whole thing crossed a threshold. So here's the plumbing. Meet Tom. He downloads a free weather app, a coupon app, a game, maybe a fitness app. He taps Allow Location because he wants the thing to work and because nobody has ever felt spiritually enriched by reading a permission screen. He shops online, uses a grocery loyalty card, enters his email for a discount, fills out a quote form, and carries his phone everywhere. Normal life. Step 1, collection. Apps, software kits inside apps called SDKs, website trackers, retailers, and brokers all gather pieces. A device ID here, an email there, a phone number, an IP address, a home address, a purchase history. Step 2, identity resolution. Plain English, that means stitching Tom's puzzle pieces together, and when the labels don't match perfectly, they use probabilistic matching, which is just fitting pieces together even when they're a little smudged. Same phone near the same house at night, same work address by day, same email used for a purchase. Close enough to build a durable profile. Step 3, inference. Tom never said, "I'm a likely homeowner," or "I'm under financial stress." The system infers it. Frequent airport pings suggest traveler. Late-night visits to a baby store suggest new parent. Repeated stops at certain clinics can imply health interests. Some brokers have reportedly held 1,500 or more data points on a consumer. Not every broker, not every file, but enough to get weirdly specific. If this were just one app remembering Tom's preferences, fine. But it isn't. Here's where it clicks. The product isn't the raw crumbs. It's the sorting. Think shredded paper reconstructed from a dozen trash cans. A location trail alone can reveal where Tom sleeps, where he works, his routines, and when he's out of pattern. And with just 4 spatiotemporal points, researchers showed 95% of people can be singled out. Anonymous is often just anonymous to you. And once Tom's profile exists, it doesn't just sit there like a dusty file cabinet. Because it can be reused, copied, scored, and resold, one signal turns into 5 different outcomes. First, yes, ads get sharper. But the bigger issue is persistence. Because Tom gets tagged as stressed, moving soon, or shopping for insurance, he can keep seeing different offers, different pitches, different prices, and different screens to pass through. And that spills out of ad land into decisions about who gets the good quote, who gets more verification, and who gets swarmed with junk. Because if a system can infer vulnerability, scammers can weaponize the same logic. They don't need your diary. They just need a map of who is reachable and likely to respond. In 2023, the FBI's IC3 said Americans age 60 and over lost $3.4 billion to internet crime. Not all of that runs through brokers, obviously. But markets that sort people by responsiveness and circumstance are basically catnip for fraud. And then there's safety. In 2022, the FTC sued Kochava over selling precise geolocation data that could be used to trace people to sensitive places. That's not a theoretical privacy seminar problem. That's a body in space problem. Your phone's idea of helpful is basically, I sold your weekend routine. Incredible feature set. Very normal. And this is where finance stops being abstract. Privacy loss shows up in your wallet. Because data can feed screening, pricing, and risk models, what gets harder to pay for can be brutally ordinary. Insurance, a car loan, rent, even the monthly mortgage payment if your options narrow and your terms get worse. And when people feel watched or profiled, they change behavior. They stop searching certain things, they avoid places, they use less convenient services, they spend time dodging spam and scams instead of making better money decisions. So yeah, if it can be inferred, it can be monetized. Now, the lazy version of this story goes like this. Relax, it's just ad targeting. You clicked agree. And besides, the data is anonymized. That's the mainstream shrug. To be fair, one side is right about one thing. A lot of this ecosystem did grow up around marketing. And the other side is right that rules exist. FCRA covers some credit uses. HIPAA covers some health data. GLBA covers parts of financial data. It's not the Wild West in every direction. But here's the clearer picture. When the FTC examined 9 data brokers in 2014, it didn't find one neat ad machine. It found a layered market spread across marketing, risk mitigation, and people search. Different buckets, different uses, same basic logic. Combine fragments, build profiles, sell access to the profile or the score it produces. So the problem isn't a single creepy ad following you for sneakers you already bought. The problem is hidden resale of predictive power. Consent is fragmented into 1,000 tiny clicks nobody can realistically track, and legality doesn't magically make the outcome harmless, especially after copies of the data are already floating around. Why doesn't this get more attention? Because the middlemen are invisible, the language is boring, and patchwork law makes partial oversight look like a complete system. It isn't. This is surveillance in office casual clothing. The invisible broker economy doesn't really trade in facts about you. It trades in forecasts about who you are and how to use that. I make these videos to drag hidden financial infrastructure into the light. Answer in the comments. Would you rather have the right to delete your data or the right to stop it from being sold at all? This is a sorting machine, not an ad machine.